Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Zishan. How are you both? Doing well? Perfect, perfect. Okay, that's amazing. I'm super excited that you guys are here for the Business Networking Hive session. And I guess there are a few more in the waiting room. However, we are not going to wait for them. We will still get started because I do believe time is so important for everyone, isn't it? So your time is your asset. So I don't want to, wait until they join. If you guys have any questions or anything, you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask. So every week we host this business networking hive session. And the reason why we do this is mainly because we want to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs. We want to collaborate. And also you will have an opportunity, during the event to talk to others, network with others in the breakout rooms. That's how it usually works. Okay. So the agenda is going to be like, first, I will be sharing some value in terms of helping you understand a certain topic every single week. All right. So the first week, what we covered was all about goal setting. The second week we covered was, how to shift your identity and your belief system so that you can see yourself as someone who is worth it to charge what you want to charge online. And this is the third session that we have today. And today I'm going to talk about three core things that actually, were stopping me, and I learned this lesson and how this could like literally my confidence was that it was kind of shaky when I did this, right? So most of us, we somehow have a fear of rejection. Yeah. And sometimes we are not like very confident in terms of charging or confident to show up. We have a fear factor, we procrastinate, we feel like an imposter. And all of these things are pretty common in the online space. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. The three roadblocks that actually I have, and you guys can relate to this. And probably you can relate so much so that you might realize that, oh my God, yes, these are a few things that's even holding me back, right? So that's what we will start, and it's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes. And then later I will create breakout rooms. In the breakout rooms, you can introduce yourself, you can talk to each other, you can see what others are doing and all of that stuff. And the third thing, at last, the next 15-20 minutes, I will be having one of my clients, who will be practicing their coaching session, and they will be presenting how they coach and what they do, right? So this is how the business networking event is. It's like more so like a speed networking event, where you learn, you connect, you collaborate, and you can also understand what others are doing. Good till here? Yeah. And I just want to ensure that this is recording. All right. If you have any questions, you can ask, you can unmute yourself and ask. I would suggest keep your cameras on, okay? Because ultimately, like I always say, I'm a very energetic person. And when I see you guys, it just gives me a lot of boost and energy in myself. Yeah. So I have, okay, I will be just that. I'm just, okay. All right. So just sending a message. Fine. All right. So let me ask you a question. What do you think, okay, is the biggest roadblock that's stopping you right now in your business? You can either unmute yourself and tell me, or you can just, drop it in the chat. So it's just going to become easy for us to understand. What do you think is the biggest roadblock for you right now that's holding you back? Okay. And if you feel like you should be further ahead in your business, okay, and you have in your mind that I have a goal of achieving a certain number, okay, and you know that this roadblock is kind of like stopping you. What do you think that's the roadblock you have? I just learned about the offer and marketing message last week. Need to polish this a bit further to go ahead with it. Okay, I understand, Zishan, no problem. All right. What about others? Yeah, if you can unmute yourself, it's just going to be easy, right? So what I have seen, just to understand, I mean, just to help you guys understand, and also what I have noticed in my journey online is if you have a certain thing that you want to achieve, especially in your business. So since I'm a sales and marketing coach, I will be talking more about business, and you can relate this to something even personal, maybe to your weight loss, maybe to your family, your relationship, or whatsoever that you really want. However, I'm just talking about business in terms of business over here. Like I do have people who say that, okay, I want to do my first 5K, I want to do my first 10K and stuff like that. But then there is this limiting beliefs that usually stops us. Okay, the limiting beliefs can be towards the money. The limiting beliefs can sometimes be the pitfalls what we come across on our way while we are trying to achieve it. And the limiting beliefs can also be self-doubt, most important. So what happens is, more than the strategies, all right, what we really have to focus on is, trust me, it's not the strategy itself that can help you in achieving what you want to achieve. You are your own worst enemy. And I'll tell you why. Your mind stops you from doing a certain thing, and that's what is actually holding you back. So it's not that you're not good enough. It's not that you don't know how to do. It's just that you need to put things on track and in place. If that makes sense, right? So the number one is, a lot of people chase the strategy. Okay, so I want to give you an example of this, right? So when I was in my 30s, that's when I started my my own business marketing agency. It was very frustrating for me to see these young entrepreneurs online who are in their 19s and 20s, breaking the records and creating the business, and it seemed like it was an overnight success. And you might have seen this many a times, where you see like, okay, a 20-year-old crushing on, as a trading, 21-year-old who is a millionaire. I'm sure you must have seen it. If you have seen it, drop in the chat. So I know that you know what I'm talking about, right? So you must be all like, I used to always wonder, okay, what's the difference, man? I mean, what's the difference? What is that they're doing so differently in their life, in their this one, and why are they able to do it? And I'm older, I'm wiser, I'm smarter. But if they are doing it, why am I not able to do this? Right? So what happens is, we always start comparing ourselves with someone who is ahead of us. Right? So since I started my business in my late 20s and early 30s, I know what I'm talking about, and I have some wisdom to share here, right? So after years of experience and learning from my own mistakes, there are 3 crucial steps that is going to help you reach your goals faster and reach your goals more efficiently. All right. So here is the thing, right? The secret number one, let me just open my whiteboard, because it just becomes so easy for me to explain this entire thing if I have my whiteboard right here, right? So now let's imagine, okay, I'm just going to take a pen. Let's imagine this is the road, all right? And you are on a road trip, okay? What happens is, you want to go from this destination to this destination, yeah? So you are here right now, and you want to go here, and you want to achieve this destination. You want to get there as soon as possible, right? Now picture this to yourself. You're on a road trip. It's big, it's an exciting destination, you're very happy with your family. You know that if you stay on the main road, you will be able to get there fastest. Am I right? Yes or no? Yeah, am I right? But then you see a lot of cool attractions. Maybe you saw, an attraction here that can be a museum. You saw maybe a roadside dinner here. So you just wanted to stop. Your kids saw something like monkeys over here. They were excited and they just said, okay, I want to watch the monkeys, and excitement, and they stop and all of that stuff. Now, what happens when you keep stopping and you are going to stop at every single pitfall you have? Okay. And then what happens? Does your journey becomes faster or slower? You tell me. Yeah. Slower. Yeah, absolutely. It's slower. Why? Because you are distracted with all of these pit stops left, right, and center, right? This is exactly what happens in business. This has happened to me all the time, and it has kept me distracted. And you know what it is? It is the shiny object. That means that there are so many things which keeps shining, like, doing unnecessary interviews, attending every single conference. It has happened to me when I was doing a strategy of Facebook groups. I was able to get leads from Facebook groups. I was able to get clients from Facebook group, and it was super simple. I post on the Facebook groups. I get people to my Facebook group. I used to host the events like these, and I used to make sales. That was it was happening. Now, since people started noticing me in the Facebook group, so I had people inviting me for podcast. I had people inviting me for networking events. I had people inviting me for a conference. So what happened in my mind is like, okay, I will get more traffic. I'll get more visibility. So I kept on accepting all the invitations, fewer paid, fewer unpaid. Okay. Now, what do you think happened? Did this help me reach to my destination of doing six figures in a year faster or slower? What happened? Slower. Yeah. Okay. That's right. You know why? That's mainly because I got distracted from my path. My focus was distracted, and I kept jumping into something as a new idea, a good idea. This might get me more clients, this might get me more visibility, this might get me more things. So the distractions actually slowed down my progress, right? So this is like my personal story. All right. And I don't know if you guys are able to relate to this or not. So the first lesson that I want you to learn from today is, if you really want to achieve your goals on fast track, okay, stay focused on your main client acquisition method. Whether it is posting videos, whether it is posting content, whether it is DMing people, whether it is posting in the Facebook groups, whether it is, hosting masterclasses, whatsoever, stay focused or in your lane without getting distracted with the next shiny stuff. Is that making sense? Yeah. So this was my first lesson I want to share with you guys, is that stick to your road, keep driving straight until you reach your destination, whether it is to achieve your first $5,000 or whether it is to achieve your next $100,000 or whatsoever. Right? Now, the second thing is focusing on the right challenges, right? So you need to increase your ability to solve a problem. Okay, let me explain what this works. Now, what happens is, we're doing a certain thing. We know that we are right now, having certain problems. And what really happens is, now you have someone like maybe a client who says like, oh, I don't see your website. And now you start thinking to yourself like, oh my God, I need to have a website. Right? I'm giving you an example of this. Now imagine like there is this big block on the road. What would you do if there is this big block on the road? Now you're going straight on the on the road, yeah, but there's this big boulder. Now this boulder is blocking your road, right? So you could go off, read a book, learn how to create that website, or randomly do some business strategy so that you can pass this block, right? But what you really need is a solution. So I want you to think about the challenges that can be like a big boulder right now, which is blocking your road. Okay. And I want to think about a solution that can tackle the obstacle that you have in front of you. Right. So most of us, what we do is, most of the coaches I have seen, they get distracted by a certain problem that actually doesn't matter. Right? So instead of trying to solve that problem in that particular current situation, you might focus on creating a solution for that problem. So rather than you building a website yourself, learning everything, trying to lift that block and then pass the road, just hire someone who can help you do that. Isn't that a simplest way for you to delegate the tasks to someone who's an expert in what they do? Right? Now, let's suppose if you are in your coaching journey and you know that you have difficulty in a particular thing, you know that you can't overcome this difficulty, you need someone's help, but you are blocking your way because you want to try to do everything by yourself, and you don't understand that you're not saving money, you're wasting time. Does that make sense? Yeah. So many a times we always focus on, okay, I just don't want to hire someone because maybe I have to pull out from my savings and do this. But do you realize they are expert in what they do? And when they are expert in what they do, they really can help you overcome this block, the struggle that you have. So you need to focus on the right challenges rather than trying to do everything by yourself. Right? And remember one thing, guys, you get paid based on the value of the problem you solve. So if you focus on solving a bigger problem, right, it will help you in achieving your goal faster, because bigger the problem you solve, bigger the money others pay for you. Right? So if you are getting some value in this session, do let me know in the chat. And if you have any of your friends who would be interested in attending these networking events, feel free to invite them, because we host this every single week. It's going to be super valuable for everyone, right? So just trying to help entrepreneurs understand what could be their biggest problems, challenges that's actually holding them back, which they cannot see, and that's actually stopping them from getting clients, right? Now, the third thing is this might be pretty common, where you might have heard this 100 times, right? Okay, take action that moves the needle in your business. Take action, take action. Now, a lot of people freak out by saying that, okay, what is that particular action that you really want to take, right? So you probably have heard this, right? Many a times, but not all actions are created equal. This is something that I really learned. The problem is many entrepreneurs are taking action just to feel productive, not because it's moving them closer to their goals. Okay, understand this. Just to feel productive, not because it's moving them closer to their goals. Now, let me give you an example, about about a client of mine, okay, who was when she was working with me, right? So she was focusing her time, energy, and all of these things on obsessing on creating a logo and a personal brand and random webinars and all of that stuff, wherein she really had to focus on things that's going to move the needle in her business. So taking wrong actions at the wrong time is not going to help you. Does that make sense? When you are taking action, you need to understand what are the things that's going to move the needle in my business. And doing the things like, okay, launching an offer, creating content, booking calls. These are the things that's going to get you the results. So if you focus all of your time, efforts, and energy on things that's not moving the needle in your business, you might feel like, okay, it's a productive way and I will be productive and all of that stuff. But you need to ask this to yourself. If I stress over my logo, the colors, okay, or my branding design, or some damn thing which is not mattering right now for me in the business, is that going to help me move the needle? If the answer is no, that means you're just keeping yourself satisfying your ego that I am busy, busy, busy. being busy does not mean you're being productive, right? So when you understand what are the strategic actions that you need to take, that's when you should be able to move from point A to point B in a quick way, right? So don't get caught up in this feel productive kind of a thing. So I'll give you an example. Why do you think people buy these gym memberships? Do you think that they buy these gym memberships because they really want to get fit? Or do you think that they buy the cheap gym membership because they get into a feeling of, I will feel healthier? Does it make sense? Yeah. I'm going to the gym. In their mind, the perception is I will feel healthier. So they go to the gym one day, they start feeling like they have lost already 10, 20 pounds, and then they come back home and they hog on the burger, the pizza, the drinks, and all of that stuff. Now, what is happening? Just because you have a gym membership does not make you a fit person, right? Yeah, do you agree? So it's not about going to the gym. It's about doing the work at the gym, following the discipline, following the plan, and staying away from the things that's not going to help you maintain that healthy lifestyle, right? So to succeed, you need to take actions based on the data, not just on the feelings. At the end of the day, data doesn't lie. And this is what I have learned, okay? What it truly matters is, are you tracking what works? Are you tracking what's bringing the results? Are you tracking what kind of activities are you doing right now that's moving the needle in your business? Or are you doing these activities because it's like a feel-good activity and it feels like you're busy? Like a lot of people say, I'm so busy, I work so hard, and social media is taking a lot of my time. Or say, okay, so what do you do? I'm on Facebook. So what do you do on Facebook? I published content. Okay, what else did you do? I was watching reels. What else did you do? I was watching videos. Do you think just by watching reels and scrolling social media, you are busy? You are productive? Or do you think taking action that moves the needle in your business is what's going to keep you productive? Right? So to summarize these three key lessons, what I want to tell you is, number one, like I said, stay focused on your main client acquisition method. What works for you? Number two, solve the big problems for your clients rather than focusing on doing something as, doing it for yourself rather than delegating it to others. That's going to be super important, right? So that is most important. And the third thing is take action that moves the needle in the business, because if you are not taking action, you're not going to get the results. Yeah, do you agree, guys? How many of you could relate to what I've just now shared? And how many of you like really feel like, okay, yeah, I mean, these are the few things that I might really need to be, focusing on right now. Because most of the times we do these sessions because we really want you to understand where you are and where you really want to be. Because what matters is, if you're not in the motion, you're getting stuck, right? Okay. I hope this was valuable. What was the thing that stood out for you in this? What was the thing that you feel like, okay, this stood out for me? And you can unmute yourself and talk because we're just a small group of people here. And that's absolutely fine. Third one is valuable.
Hi, Ajman.
Hi, Zishan.
The first thing that I was doing and not even noticing is the distractions. Watching reels on Instagram and Facebook. Although even if you create a content and you post it, and then maybe you should think about the next step.
Exactly.
What should be your next reel? What's the content going to be? Or when should I record it? Should I record it right now? Or should I record it in the afternoon? Or something like that. But we just post something and this probably see what others are posting. And then it goes on and on and on for probably an hour. Especially when you are at work and then you realize, oh my God, I'm on Instagram for the past 45 minutes. I have to get back to work.
Yeah. It's a biggest distraction,
Exactly.
A lot of people get stuck in that and focusing on, okay, I am productive. What did you do? They did actually nothing. Okay, you need to understand what kind of revenue generating activities are you focusing on, right?
Yes.
This is exactly what we teach in our program, where you need to focus. And trust me, social media marketing can be like super simple, only and only when you know what to do. And you don't have to be on the phone all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, especially me, when I'm a mother of three and I'm doing the clients calls and all of these things, the number one, delegate the things that you don't want to do. Number two, focus on the activities that's going to really help you get clients, right? And this doesn't has to be your whole day, like your full-time job. This can literally be for a couple of hours. And I honestly, like, I work for about 3 to 4 hours a day, and I take out one entire day from like one entire 2 hours in a week for me to craft all the video content. Okay. And for me, what's been working very well is video content plus hosting the events. Yeah. And I get 95% of my clients from this, and this is what is needed. And I know that this is moving the needle in my business, and I wouldn't change it. Sometimes I feel like it's so boring, but boring is something that gets you the results. You know, people don't understand this. The moment they feel like, oh, it's getting boring, they try to change something else, and that's just going to mess up their entire business. Yeah.
You know, Arjun, I have to tell you, and I have told you a little bit about this in the past. These other consultants that I've either hired or they find me on LinkedIn and they want to offer me their services, you know, and so they want me to buy their services. But either way, whether they're people that I was officially working with or people that for free are offering me advice, they're the ones who have said, I need to do things like I need to have a website. And I need to, and they don't like my website. So they're telling me I need to change my website, or they look at my sales funnel. I have a sales funnel for my energy program. So they do that. Or one guy said, I need to write a book and publish it on Amazon. I need to have a book because that will give me credibility. And so he wants me to write a book. And then these other I know one guy wants me to partner or joint venture with physicians. Well, I'm going to tell you, no, I know if I've been a nurse for 50 years, married to a physician. I'm going to tell you right now, no physician's going to want to partner with me. They're as busy as they can be. They're busier than they can be. And physicians right now are getting so burned out, they're leaving medicine. So these ideas that they're giving me, I'm ignoring. But those would be major distractions that would get me no clients, no revenue. But it's only been you, Arjun. You're the only one who has said, you know, forget about this, forget about this, forget about getting yet again another credential. People don't care about your credentials. Right.
No
so
one.
Thank you. You're the only one that has really, truly helped me.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. I truly appreciate that. And honestly, this is what it is. It's all, you know why they tell you this? They want to create a FOMO, a fear of missing out. Okay. And they say that, oh, you have a website, but you know what? This is not good. That is not good, blah, blah, blah. You think I don't get these messages? I do. And what if I tell you, like, for the first 2 years of my business, I did not even have a funnel, like a call booking page that you guys see now. Until now, 4 years in the business, I don't have a proper website, like a website, you know. I just have the one page funnel where I have a video training and I have all of my testimonials and a call booking link. Super simple. That is what it is. Until now, for 2 years, I wasn't doing email marketing. I wasn't doing anything, because this is something that I learned, that people want to sell you their stuff by creating that fear. Okay. Oh my God, you don't have this, you don't have that. You will be featured on Amazon and blah, blah, blah. Tell me how many authors are there on Amazon? And this is an entire business, you know. You can pay to get featured and get your book ranked. Is no big deal. If you pay $5,000 to my coach, you know, he did a book collaboration. He was charging 5K. All you had to do is do one chapter of in a book, and there were about 22 people who were called as elite entrepreneurs. And his book was launched on Thursday, and it's already #1 best-selling. How does this happen? This all is a business. All this is a business, you know, and everybody wants to just make money. And that's why they're just creating that FOMO. Like, trust me, if you want to really get faster to the goal, you need to avoid that pitfalls and focus on the shiny stuff. Like, you know, avoid the shiny stuff and focus on the road. That's what is most important. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum, Arjuman. Just wanted to say that I agree. I echo what Sharon said. But for me, it's like I always thought that making my content was my work. And I think you're the one that said to me, it's actually what you do in the back. What do you call it? The back office
Yeah,
in terms
yeah.
of the meeting, the meeting and greeting and the messaging. So, yeah, that's something which I've really started to do recently, to be honest with you. Even like you taught me how to actually make content every single day. And then I actually got so engrossed in that I thought that, I always think I'm doing my job and I'm doing my job. Why aren't I getting clients? But I appreciate now what you're saying is that it's actually what you're doing in the background. So I'm now beginning. Today I was very scared. I'm not sure why, but I was scared of LinkedIn. Maybe I thought I wasn't good enough, but today I looked at your package about your guides about LinkedIn and I looked at them. So inshallah, I'm going to try and implement them now, inshallah. So
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay. All right. So, Zishan, since there are only few people here today, that's absolutely fine. It would be nice if you can share, like each of you, 5 minutes, just share about yourself to each other, network, collaborate, refer, follow each other, support each other's journey. This is why we do this. All right. So, Zishan, introduce yourself to everyone else and tell them what you do. Your time starts now. And I'm going to put a timer for 5 minutes. Okay, so you have
Okay.
5 minutes to really talk about what you do and things like that. Yeah, stuff like that.
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Zishan. Basically, I'm from Pakistan, but currently I'm working and living in Baghdad, Iraq. I am a chartered accountant by profession. I work for a telecom company. And about 2 years ago, I was going through certain stuff. It had to do with a lot of challenges. I wanted to get help. This is how I got into this business. Initially, I did not know what is the difference between getting therapy and getting a training. I was probably, again, got connected to somebody who was selling trainings. So that is how I got into it. And later on, I got to know that there are a lot of interventions that we can't even perform on ourselves. So I was like, why am I exactly here? But at least the good part is I got to network with a lot of people. And through that networking, I got interventions done on myself and, of course, helping others as well. So this is how I got my trainings about 2 years ago. I am an NLP practitioner and a timeline therapy master practitioner for both of them. And that is how I started taking clients as well. Initially, I started charging as well. I started low, definitely. And since I spent my entire life in Pakistan. It's just 2.5 years that I've moved to Iraq. So most of my connections on Facebook and Instagram were from Pakistan. So I thought maybe again a limiting belief that I can't charge high, or maybe to try if people are going to pay me or not. So for a beginning, I started charging less. So about 6, 7, 8 months, I started charging less, and then some of my friends told me that this is also a limiting belief because I was probably unable to identify it as a limiting belief. Then I raised my rates a bit. Then I was really surprised when I got my first client from Australia, again through a referral, but still it was a paid client, not a free client. That is when I got to know that, okay, referrals also do work. Since I was coming from an accountancy background, I was not I did not study psychology as a degree or something. So in hearts of my heart, probably I thought maybe I wouldn't say good enough. Maybe I thought I'm not as good as the people who have studied psychology in their graduation or masters. So maybe I'm a little less. So I thought maybe if I polish my skill, if I have more clients, I'll be more confident in running interventions on them and I won't be shaky or doubtful on myself. So for now, maybe practice is something that I need to build my self-confidence at first. And then I kept on charging for a bit. And then I told Arjuman in an earlier session that for some reason, I thought to stop charging. For about a year and a half, I stopped charging, but I still kept on taking clients. And just recently, about a month ago, probably, I've changed my stance that in an earlier session, Arjuman taught us that there are other ways to share value with people for free as well, just like events like these. And it was like my, you can say, New Year resolution that in 2025, I will again start charging. So the clients I'm already having right now, I'm not charging them, but for new clients that I'm going to take, inshallah, I will be definitely charging them, and I will be attending these sessions very often to take something or the other from these sessions and inshallah implement them on my social media platforms. My LinkedIn, I haven't yet published this side of me on LinkedIn because my LinkedIn is based on my accountancy career. But my Facebook and Instagram, I'm purely thinking of making them wholeheartedly only for this coaching thing, and definitely I attended a 3-day workshop last week where I got to know. I don't know if it was last week or this week, but anyway, so where I got to know about the offer and the marketing message, and then I recorded something, and I thought perhaps it can do better, but I still didn't get into the to be a perfectionist. I still posted it. So I thought maybe let's just post it. Once you have a better offer, or once you have a better script, or a better idea, I'll post something else that day. Let's not just stop myself trying to be the perfect version. Let us just create content. As you mentioned, that video content is definitely going to be more popular, and I'm definitely not shy. I've hosted a regular morning show on radio 5 days a week for 7.5 years in Pakistan. So I was not shy. It wasn't that I was shy, but probably since I got into this new country and the new dynamics, trying to gel in, learn new work, make new connections, I got distracted. And with the big pause, probably I got into this feeling of how do you say, being hesitant about getting into the videos again. But now I'm on it, and inshallah, I'll create more content very soon. And the time is up. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Thank you. All right, Cheryl, would you want to go next?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll share.
Yeah.
Okay. My background is I am a registered nurse, and I have been a registered nurse for 50 years. So do the math. I'm going to be turning 72 this year. So yeah, I have a long history in healthcare. So I've worked in many areas of healthcare as a nurse. Then I got a master's degree in nursing, and I have clinical specialty in orthopedics, physical medicine and rehab, and pain management. Then I got an MBA. I won a scholarship to get an MBA because I knew that I had management talent. So for many years, I was in different administrative and management roles. I also was awarded a fellowship to get a PhD in research. So I've done research in healthcare in a number of different areas, orthopedics in different areas, and I've taught at the collegiate level. So all these years that I've worked in different capacities, I just love helping people, teaching people, working with people. It's been my whole life. But aside from that, I have 2 autoimmune diseases. And I'm someone who I don't think I'll ever retire. I like to be busy. I can't see myself just sitting at home as a retired person watching TV or whatever, just to kill time. So I have a niece who is an accountant and became a coach. Her niche is helping young women entrepreneurs start or grow their businesses. So when I was talking with my niece, who's more like a daughter than a niece to me, she's the one that gave me information about coaching courses that I could take to get certified and how she started her business. And so that's what I did. I took several coaching courses to get certified. I worked up until last year when I retired. So exactly a year ago, I retired and started my coaching business. So and again, as I had said briefly before, I've worked with other consultants who have helped me. The first one helped me develop a website, and he's the one that convinced me that I needed to write a lot of blogs, because it's the blogs that are going. He talked to me about search engine optimization. So again, I started out with like zero knowledge about, I had a Facebook account, I had a LinkedIn account, but I didn't really use those other than to read what other people sent me. I never posted anything. So I was starting the learning curve of learning about social media websites, learning about building a business, search engine optimization, and all that stuff. So I spent a lot of time writing these technical blogs. And someone with an MBA and a PhD, I did that anyways. So, I would love to sit and write. Again, it's not going to get me any revenue. It's really not getting me any clients, but I got all these beautiful blogs that I've written. So what? It's on my website. And then I hired another coaching consultant. And she's the one that told me I need a sales funnel. She's the one who started me focusing on a different program that other than my 12-week program for people with autoimmune diseases, because that's my niche, people with autoimmune disease. So I started this 10-week energy coaching program, which is a good program. And I've coached a couple of volunteer clients. And so I've got their testimonies, which helps. But again, she also gave me a lot of other bad advice. And I was wasting a lot of time doing things that after my 3-month contract was over with her, then I started with you, Arjun. So really kind of got on the right track then. But again, I've got grandchildren now, and I do like to spend time with my grandchildren. My husband and I are building our retirement home. And so I'm putting a lot of time into those things right now. We interviewed and talked to 7 different custom home builders. That took a lot of time. We just recently picked out the custom home builder that we're going to use. And so now we're spending time picking out a lot of the materials and the selections for the home that we're going to be building. I'm trying to squeeze in between all these visits with my grandchildren and with these builders. I'm trying to squeeze in time to post videos because I know that videos are really what people don't want to read a lot. They really don't. You have to have very short posts because people don't want to read a lot. So I'm mainly doing videos, and I did find an app a teleprompter app, which is real easy because if you just use Chat GPT and get your script and load it into this app that's got the teleprompter, I can make a video in like 5 minutes. And I love it.
Absolutely.
So that's what I'm focusing on. What I'm focusing on.
Great.
Videos.
Amazing. Amazing. Rafia, would you want to go next?
Assalamu alaikum. So I'm 51 years old, and Cheryl, you are inspirational to me because sometimes I think, Rafi, at this age,
Cheryl, you're so inspiring, even at the
she
age of
is,
72,
bless her, yeah. I
Mashallah,
think to
you're full
myself,
of
yeah,
energy.
mashallah. I think to myself, oh, at the age of Rafi 51, why you just stick to teaching? So I trained as a science and maths teacher. And then when my older daughter was born, who is 20 now, I left the classroom to work as a private tutor. So pretty much past 20, even before about 25 years, I've been working as a private tutor and I teach.
Well, Rafia, you're probably going to live another 40 years. So think of it that way.
Well, that's the we don't know, only God knows, but
years on this earth.
Yeah.
So think about what you're going to do for the next 40 years.
Absolutely. This is
I
why
love that.
it's
Yeah.
strange you say that because my husband often says to me, is that what are you, obviously he knows I enjoy it, but he says to me, if I get stressed, usually it's because I'm bugging him about IT, he goes, just stick to your teaching, work, because I also work with him. He's a pharmacist. I help him manage the pharmacy, the section of it as well. So he often says to me, with your teaching and the pharmacy, you've got enough to keep you busy. So the reason I actually changed my direction was a few years ago, I actually became ill. My younger brother, as he's now, bless him, is 35. When he was 7, he was diagnosed with Crohn's. And so a couple of years ago, I think just during COVID, I got very stressed, and obviously it led to quite severe IBS. And the doctor actually said it was Crohn's. That sent a shiver down my back. And then I started to do some research, and within a year, alhamdulillah, from the grace of God, my inflammation in the next scan was clear. So I didn't realize that, there is something that we can do. So then I went off and I studied something which is I did something for over 3 years, which is called Unani Tib. So it's a bit like Ayurvedic, but it's actually the roots of it are based on the teachings of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it's literally Islamic medicine with sort of a modern approach to it. So it's all literally, I'm not sure if you know Barbara O'Neill, Cheryl.
Yeah, I do.
Barbara O'Neill literally does exactly the same. It's just that she puts the word. I think she's quite she's a practicing Christian, but the work we do is a mirror image of exactly what she does. So what my job now, my role, I'm hoping, is to help women to overcome. Because obviously, working in the pharmacy, I realize that people come in with these prescription drugs and they get sicker and sicker. So I want to. I'm sure you can relate to that, Cheryl. I actually want to help people to come. Number one is what I want to do is preventative, so it stop people actually going on the medication. And number two is I was reading an article yesterday about insulin and metformin and how pre-diabetes can be easily reversed. So, my job is to actually help people to overcome a disease before it's fully onset, so it's manageable. So that's what I'm hoping to do with women, so that they can actually go off and live amazing lives and fulfill their potential without having those achy joints and pains as they age. So,
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep, and we're seeing more and more pre-diabetes everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I mean, even now, the big thing now is the brain problems, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ADHD. Just all.
Yep. Right.
It's all preventable, from diet and
Mhm.
lifestyle choices. But yeah.
Yep.
Cheryl, thank you, my darling. You've inspired me when you told me your age. Bless you.
I'm just never going to retire.
Good for you.
This was the same attitude my dad had, Cheryl. My dad was an advocate. He was a lawyer, and he always used to tell that I'm never going to retire until he passed away due to COVID in 2021. Until he got COVID, he had still gone to the High Court, to handle one of the criminal cases, because he was a very famous criminal lawyer. And then he was diagnosed with COVID. He was at home for some time, and then he was admitted in hospital for about 18-20 days. And then he passed away, so till he passed away, he was working. And this is exactly what my dad used to say, like, I would go mad if I'm ever going to retire. I don't want to retire. And we are 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 brother. And we used to always tell him to retire and all that. He used to always say, no way, I'm not going to retire. I cannot sit at home. So when
he lived his life. He lived his life to the fullest and contributed till the end. Now, that's not to say that you don't take some vacations and travel. Of course, I'm gonna take some vacations and I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna see my friends. I'm gonna see my grandchildren. But in between the travel and the grandchildren and my friends, I am going to be doing something productive. I have to.
I know, I can understand. So when I hear you saying this, I immediately remembered, what my dad used to say. Yeah. Okay. Cheryl, you're ready for your presentation for your coaching?
Yeah, for my upcoming masterclass.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Is that what you're going to share today with us?
Oh, no, I wasn't going to deliver my presentation because it's kind of
okay,
lengthy.
because you had taken this spot that you wanted to practice your coaching session. You remember yesterday also I
coaching. Oh, a sales session. It's more a sales session rather than my presentation.
Okay, so what are you going to teach in the masterclass? If you want to quickly, run through the presentation here so that you can practice, you can do that because you have 15 minutes time. Would you want to do that?
Well, I could do that. I could briefly show you. I can briefly run through it, and that's what I'll do. Yeah, so this won't, let me.
Yeah, you can.
So I need to share my screen. Let me go back. Let me go back here and share my screen.
And Cheryl, adjust your camera because only we can see half of your face. So adjust your camera and be now.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right. Where is it? Okay, the first masterclass that I did about a month ago was a very broad topic about autoimmune diseases, and that took about an hour and a half to do. So this narrows it down. Can you see these slides?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so this presentation is focusing more on one aspect of autoimmunity, and that is positivity. So thriving beyond your diagnosis, whatever your diagnosis is. There's over 100 different autoimmune diagnoses, probably close to 140. But I will be talking about cultivating positivity in your journey of autoimmunity. So, again, starting out my presentation to talk about who I am. So wanting to tell my audience my background as a registered nurse for 50 years. I got a bachelor's, master's. I have clinical specialty areas, as I mentioned, talking about my management experience, my research experience, work as a college professor. And now, at this point in my life, I come to being a health and wellness coach. And my focus area is people with autoimmune diseases because I have two of those myself. My two autoimmune diseases are psoriasis, that I actually was diagnosed at the age of 12. And I had psoriasis all over my body, my scalp, everywhere. That was back in the mid-60s. Time was very different. And I'm grateful because I just know that the times weren't as tough back in the 1960s. But gradually that psoriasis, and there were no medications back then. There really wasn't. But gradually the psoriasis cleared for the most part. Then when I was 34, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I had two children at the time. My youngest was 5 months old, diagnosed with MS. So I went on to have two more children and have lived my life with MS and all the different kinds of challenges and problems that it has presented to me. So I'm using that personal experience and my professional experience to be a health and wellness coach. So today we're focusing on positivity. So I will talk with the audience about what is positivity. What is it? It's a mindset or an attitude that focuses on good things, promotes optimism. It maintains hope in tough situations. It cultivates gratitude, satisfaction with life, contentment in life. But positivity influences our behavior and our relationships. That's why it's so important. So again, the science of positivity is really based in a number of different scientific areas. One is the whole area of neuroscience, which has to do with our brains, our neurons. There is a field of psychology that is called positive psychology. Then there's a field in subspecialty area in psychology called cognitive psychology. That area also builds positivity. The whole area of performance science, and that mainly has to do with athletes and other people who perform physically or artistically. That's an area that promotes and develops positivity. And then the area of mindfulness is where you develop positivity in yourself. And I'm going to talk about that in a little more detail in a little bit. But the key here is that with increased positivity, research shows that it enhances your immune functioning, which is important for people with autoimmune diseases, enhancing immune functioning. It lowers stress-related hormone levels. It lowers blood pressure. It's responsible for less pain, better sleep, fewer colds, and other routine illnesses. But it also decreases your chance of experiencing a stroke, diabetes, or other kinds of diseases. And all these things have been shown scientifically. There is a lot of science that's been conducted on our thoughts, our thought processes, because thoughts are powerful, but they often lie to you. Your own thoughts will lie to you. What's also interesting is that research has shown that our thoughts are basically hardwired to be negative. We are negative first before we think positively. And every time you have a thought about something, your brain releases certain chemicals. And your body reacts to every thought that we have. Now, the thing is, we can control our thoughts, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but that's the key, controlling your thoughts. A lot of them are automatic, but you can learn to cancel them and wipe out negative thoughts. Now, we have learned that there are different regions of the brain. And, medical science has advanced so much in the past 50 years, even in the past 10 years. So much more has been discovered about the brain, especially as we study Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease and brain cancer and so many other diseases. We have learned so much about different regions of the brain. And we can see with imaging techniques like MRIs, CAT scans, PET scans, we can see different parts of the brain that light up and get activated with certain kinds of thoughts, certain kinds of activities. And there are main regions of the brain that people who write about positivity talk about. And the main area they talk about is the survivor brain. The survivor brain is the part of your brain that sabotages you. It's your worst enemy. And we're going to talk in more detail about that. But there's another part of your brain that's the sage or the wise, coping, insightful part of your brain. And you can activate different regions of your brain with different exercises. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the survivor brain, that's the region of the brain that focuses on physical and emotional survival. The survivor brain is really the primitive part of your brain that when we were first placed on Earth, we were given this fight or flight ability because different threats would come to us, whether it was another human being, an animal, weather conditions, certain threats that would come to us and we'd have to react to survive. So either run or fight. So this part of our brain is very basic, very primitive, but it basically deals with trauma, stress, adversity. It deals with and causes hypervigilance so that we're always a little paranoid, looking over our back, watching for threats around us. It deals with moodiness, irritability. It also is responsible for flashbacks that we may have if we've experienced trauma in our lifetime. It also is a part of feeling numbness to certain relationships or circumstances or situations because we can't deal with it. We can't cope with it. Impaired coping really comes from having been traumatized at some point in our life. And research shows that over half the people in the world, probably closer to 80% of people in the world, have experienced some kind of trauma severe enough that it has permanently affected how their brain is wired and responds to certain stimuli or certain circumstances. The trauma could happen as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. It could be very recent or very remote, but it's part of that survivor brain. I don't have time to talk about trauma-informed care today, but that's a separate topic unto itself. But what we do have and what scientists recognize is that we have automatic negative thoughts. This is just, again, part of how we're wired. But we can learn how to crush or eliminate the 7 different types of automatic negative thoughts. Now, I'm not going to go into this detail here today because we don't have enough time. But when I deliver this presentation, I'll talk about these 7 different kinds of automatic negative thoughts, or ANTs, as they're called, ANTs. So I'll talk with the audience a little bit about these 7 different types of automatic negative thoughts that we all experience. And then self-limiting beliefs. We all are aware of this as coaches, should be aware of self-limiting beliefs. And this is one of the things that we as coaches help our clients overcome. Because we all have self-limiting beliefs. Problem is, they're hard to see. It's very hard to see these in ourselves. It really often requires a coach or somebody else who helps us dig deeper to identify these self-limiting beliefs that we have, because it's related to our core beliefs about ourselves. It's related to negative self-talk that we do to ourselves. And again, the automatic negative thoughts that we have, just running through our minds all the time. But these are the things, these self-limiting beliefs are the things that prevent us from achieving all we can. Again, as we help others as coaches, And as Arjuman has helped us, if we've got these beliefs that we aren't skilled enough, that we aren't worth $2,000 for a coaching program, then we prevent ourselves from being all we can be with these limiting beliefs. And then I'm going to talk about the sage perspective. And the sage perspective is something that, again, is very different from the survivor brain. When you have a sage perspective, you accept what actually is or what actually happens to you, rather than denying it, rejecting it, or resenting it. You, in a very neutral way, accept what's happening in your life, and you use what natural wisdom you do have. We all have a rational mind that can help us with feeling compassion for ourselves and empathy for ourselves. And again, I don't have time to go into this now, but I will in my presentation talk about how to bring about self-compassion and self-empathy. Part of that starts with envisioning yourself as a little 4-year-old child that you were at one time, when we were so innocent and pure and wholesome. Talk about insight. I'll talk about that. But again, the sage perspective really is responsible for the resilience that we can feel, for our personal growth that we can experience, for strength that we can grow, continuous learning that we need to do. But what the sage perspective does when you adopt this is to accept every single outcome or circumstance that happens to you as either a gift or an opportunity. Because our natural instinct is usually to look at something as a failure or a disappointment or a roadblock or something like that. And so again, with coaching, and again, this is with coaching, helping you turn that around. So regardless of how bad some situation may initially look to you, you can turn your thinking around to see it as a gift or an opportunity to get something or grow in some way. And then I just kind of end by reminding everybody, we control so little in our lives. There's so little in life over which we truly have control. And I talk about that a little more in a little bit. Positive Intelligence is a book and a program written by Shirzad Chamine. This is a coaching program that I took as well, certified in. But he writes a book about this program that he has. And he has used this program, Positive Intelligence, with hundreds, if not thousands, of Fortune 500 companies to develop high-performing teams. But he also uses it as a coach for individuals. And he teaches a coaching program for coaches to work with other individuals to achieve our highest level of potential as individuals or as a team. He talks about 10 different saboteurs that work against us, that prevent us from being all we can be. Then he talks about 5 different sage powers that you need to work on developing to grow and become your fullest potential. And he offers 3 different strategies on how to do that. Now, I don't have time to go into that today, and this is not a coaching program on positive intelligence, but I highly recommend this book to anyone. And this is what really is the basis of positive psychology here and his positivity in life. Now, self-sabotage, again, is something that we all experience. And again, in the Positive Intelligence books, he talks about our internal judge is a natural instinct that we all have to think negatively about ourselves. We judge ourselves too harshly. There are some people that are conceited, think of themselves too highly, but that's rare. Most of us look at ourselves and judge ourselves harshly. We don't think we're good enough. We look at what we say or what we do and say, oh God, I could have said that better. I could have done that better. I wish I had done something different in that situation. But with certain exercises and practice, you can weaken that judge that sabotages your thinking. And then he also identifies 9 other saboteurs that we don't have time to go into today. But depending on your personality and your upbringing, your social situation, you can have 9 other saboteurs that cause self-destruction. But what he teaches are mental exercises, and so do many other coaches in cognitive therapy, in positive psychology therapy. They teach mental exercises that can actually build new neural pathways. It's called plasticity. Maybe you've heard of it before, but you can grow new neural pathways in your brain. And you can learn the steps of that exercise, but you need to do it every day. To build those new neural pathways, you have to do it several times a day, but you don't have to do it for a long period of time. You only have to do these little exercises for about 30 seconds to 3 minutes, about 4 times per day, and you'll actually get results. And again, this is something that has been seen on imaging techniques, as well as personal responses to situations that occur in life. So again, I'm going to go through with my audience this mental exercise practice with everyone, just as a lesson. So as the group is sitting there, I'm going to say, sit with your spine straight, your shoulders back, your feet flat on the floor, relaxed like this, and close your eyes. And then just focus for a little while on the rise and fall of your chest and your abdomen while you're breathing. Just think about that. And then take your fingertips and rub them together, your thumb against all of your fingertips, back and forth with enough pressure that you can feel your fingerprints or the ridges on your fingers. So again, back and forth while you're focusing on the feel of your fingers. Again, this is a mental exercise that teaches you to concentrate and block any other thoughts. Block thoughts about yesterday or about what you're going to do today or the past, the future, anything. So it's all about teaching concentration focused on one little action. So you concentrate, and then every time, because this is natural, your mind will start to wander. In that 2 to 3 minutes, you'll start to think about what you're going to do later today or what happened last night. So as soon as your mind starts to wander, you say to yourself, no, come back. Stop, I'm thinking about my fingers only. You can do this when you're driving too, with your fingers on the steering wheel, where you're feeling the stitches on the steering wheel or the ridges, whatever. And the other thing you can do is you can sit with your eyes open, maybe on your back porch where you're surrounded by nature. And you can do the same thing while rubbing your fingers together. You're focusing your eyes on the leaves of a tree or the petals of a flower, and you focus on that. And only that. You're observing it, you're looking at it, and trying to notice every little thing about the leaves on the trees or the petals on the flower, the color, the texture, things like that. And every time you feel like your mind is running away to think about a person or an event, you say, no, come back. And you can set a timer to do this. And so you do this 4 times a day. And as you do this, you learn to control your thoughts and keep them focused on positive things. In any kind of a stressful situation, then you can bring your thoughts to focus on positive things and not the stress that you're in the middle of experiencing in a meeting or in a relationship or something like that. So that's the kind of mental exercise practice that you would go through with a coach, probably having a recording for you to listen to. I would have a recording for you to listen to and practice these mental exercises. Learning this positive replacement of your thoughts. This is the key to your best health. These exercises will help you practice replacing negative thoughts with positive thoughts. But it does require that you recognize when you're feeling negative thoughts. You have to recognize it immediately. Don't let those negative thoughts persist. Replace it immediately with a positive image or a thought or a feeling. And this is how you reframe your internal dialogue with positive self-talk. And again, other methods you can use to flood your senses with positivity are different actions like I've listed here. So with your sense of hearing, play music that you love, or listen to nature sounds on a recording on your phone or outside. You can have different kinds of recordings you can listen to. Your sense of touch, you can get a massage or go into a sauna. People use acupuncture. The sense of smell, there's aromatherapy, a lot of different kinds of aromatherapy methods. And cooking. Who doesn't love the smell of onions sauteing or some kind of food that you cook? Bacon, coffee can smell so good. And then sights of different kinds, images, artwork, being outdoors in nature. Taste. Food is a major gratifier. So we use that a lot to bring positivity to it. Our favorite tastes, beverages, certain spices bring about positivity. Cinnamon, things like that. Again, mindfulness is another subspecialty area of psychology. Mindfulness builds self-awareness. It helps focus attention on the present moment only, not the past, not the future, right here and now. It is all about controlling your attention on the present, to notice and observe your habitual thought patterns and responses and interrupt them. It teaches you to be non-judgmental about yourself, feel empathy for yourself, feel compassion for yourself, and be non-judgmental about what you do and say. Instead of being judgmental, you are asked in mindfulness to be curious. Ask yourself questions. Ask questions about your assumptions, because assumptions can be very hard to recognize in ourselves. Sometimes we don't even realize some of the things we're assuming that are false, that are untrue, that our brain is telling us. A coach can help you dig deeper and identify some of the assumptions in your mind that are false, that are working against you, causing you to feel like you just have a roadblock, something that you can't overcome. And then there's neurolinguistics for positivity. Neurolinguistics is an area, again, that works on programming thoughts and language to change behaviors for personal gain and growth. So again, there are different methods and techniques that are used in neurolinguistics for positivity. There's imagery. Oh, I've got a typo there. Imagery training, which is a type of mental rehearsal through visualization. And this is something that is used a lot for performance, mental rehearsal. And then there's the swish technique, where you create a vivid picture of what you don't want and think in black and white, something that you don't want in life. And then replace it with an image in your mind in color, very detailed picture of what you do want. And then move these images back and forth from the foreground to the background, focusing more on the color image, what you do want. Modeling is another technique. Modeling yourself after a winner, a mentor, star performer, someone that you can identify with and follow in some way with your actions, your attitudes, your approach. Mirroring is to develop body image skills to attract and connect with others. There isn't a lot of time to go into these techniques anymore, but just to mention them. Incantations are phrases that you repeat to yourself. That's your inner dialogue that you repeat to yourself frequently. So with neurolinguistics, you can achieve positivity again in your life. So just to kind of end now with this idea of happiness, because that's what positivity will bring in your life, is happiness. Happiness is a decision. It's a decision that we make. It isn't something that just falls on us or that we fall into. We don't fall into happiness and it doesn't fall on us. We decide whether we're going to be happy. In fact, Abraham Lincoln had this famous quote of his. Abraham Lincoln said, "People are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." You decide if you're going to be happy and content or not, because we only control about 10% of what happens in our lives. We can't control much of it. So you decide how you're going to react to it. This is a quote that I really love. Charles Swindoll is a pastor who's had a radio show for probably 30 years. He's a pastor with a very big church in the South, and he writes this about attitude. And I used to use this because attitude is so important. And I used to share this with all my employees when I was a manager, an administrator. And he writes, the longer I live, the more I realize the impact of attitude on life. Attitude to me is more important than facts. It's more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than failures, than successes, than what other people think, say, or do. It's more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. It will make or break a company, a church, a home. The remarkable thing is that we have a choice every day regarding the attitude we'll embrace for that day. We cannot change the past. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. The only thing we can do is play the one string we have, and that is our attitude. I'm convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Have a positive attitude. It is about positivity. And so then I'm just going to talk with the audience briefly about my 12-week personalized coaching program for people with autoimmune disease. And then I'll talk briefly about my 10-week Power Up Energy program and my sales funnel that I have for that. And then I talk about why act now, why they should act now, because we tend to procrastinate. What happens when problems are ignored and we procrastinate? Do we minimize our issues or concerns? Yeah, usually. People worry about what they'll discover in coaching. Sometimes they don't want to be coached because they worry about what will be discussed that they don't want to think about. There's concerns about the time commitment with coaching. There's concerns about the cost. And so then that's when I talk with the audience about thinking of it as a return on investment to invest money in your future and how you can experience a transformation in your life and the results that you'll receive from coaching. And then I thank them for joining me, and I let them know there will be another future master class very soon. And then I talk about scheduling a free discovery coaching session with me, and then my calendar, Bitly, and then my website, my sales funnel, my YouTube channel. I share that. And that's it.
All right. Thank you for sharing this, Cheryl.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share it.
Yeah, we have a call tomorrow, right? Our sales rehearsal call. Yeah.
7 o'clock in the morning. Yes. 7 o'clock in the morning for me.
For you. Yeah. So I will give you the feedback on this. Okay. So
okay.
You can definitely. All right then. So today's session, was it helpful, guys? Because, ultimately when you recognize what you need to do, and it was good to connect with each other as well, where you got to know about each other in terms of your journey and everything. So amazing. I host this every Wednesdays. If you have any of your friends who are coaches, consultants, or service-based entrepreneurs, and if they, if you have felt it's good, valuable session, then invite them as well. So let them be benefited as well. So at least for this month, I have scheduled it, but I'm not sure about next month if I'm going to do this or not. But however, till we have this. Yeah. All right. Okay, then.
Okay.
Thank you so much for hopping in. Have a wonderful day. I will talk to you next week. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.